Hello, Gene OK Boomer here. Welcome to today's vlog. But before we get to today's subject, I just want to reply to a comment I got on, well, I'm on YouTube and on Rumble. So this was on the Rumble vlog, and well, it's actually a criticism, but I do want to respond to it because I welcome criticism and I always try to do better. But it's more of an explanation, not sure what to do here. But the comment was, or the criticism is, that I sometimes slow down, or I'll pause, or I'll give an or something like that that slows down the video. And this commenter suggested that I write everything down, write a script, and I would assume rehearse it and know exactly what I'm going to say. I would love to do that. The problem I have is I make no money from these vlogs. It's really that simple, so I don't have the time to do it. I just can't sit and spend hours writing out a vlog and then rehearsing it. I just don't have the time. I'm semi-retired, but I still am an active commercial real estate broker. I have a day job, so I just can't do it. That's why. So I do the best I can. In fact, the usual routine for me is I work until about 11 o'clock, and then I'll come in here and record a vlog, and I'll spend maybe 20 minutes on it. That's how much time I have. So I accomplish what I can in 20 minutes. Sometimes it'll be a little longer, sometimes a little shorter. And another problem, I guess you can categorize this as damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I got a criticism before when I was just before I came on to Rumble. This was criticism just for a YouTube vlog, but saying that, well, what I used to do is I used to cut out the ums and the pauses, and that would make the video flow better, and it would be fine if it was an audio only video. The problem is that when it's visual, you get jump cuts. You get jump cuts when you cut the video, because I'm not going to, as I said, sit down and do a 10-minute video over and over again from the beginning until I get it right. I just don't have time to do that. So I cut out the pauses, and I got criticized for that, for the jump cuts. And I said, these jump cuts are really irritating. So I don't know what to do. I took that criticism to heart, and so now I just let the videos run. And if there's well, as you just heard right now, if there was a pause, or if I sometimes stumble on a word, I let it stay, because the only way to fix it is to cut out, just delete that part of the video, and then you're going to get a jump cut. So maybe we can take a little poll, and all of you can let me know which would you prefer. Would you rather have a video that flows better, that has jump cuts? But other than that, I don't know what to do. The other solution is just to let these videos run, which is what I usually do. And actually, it's easier for me because I don't have to take the time to do all these edits. So that's my reply for today. I'm always happy to hear from all of you. Well, I'll just throw one more thing. The obvious solution is for all of you to share my videos, get me a lot of subscribers. Some video, well, Rumble, I don't know about Rumble, but on YouTube there are vloggers who are making millions of dollars a year. I don't need millions of dollars, but get me up into the high 5 digits, get me into the 60,000 or 70,000. If I was making $75,000 a year doing these videos, I guarantee I would drop my real estate business entirely and just focus on these. And I would do 5 a week, and I would start in the morning, and I would make them more polished. But as it is, I can't. So that's it. That's it. It's not really a rant. It's just a reply, and I welcome your criticisms. Now, today, I've been focusing on domestic issues recently, actually for quite a while, but I occasionally like to look overseas, and especially the Middle East and Israel. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I haven't talked about it for a while. This is, well, it has to do with the Abraham Accords, which Trump gets no praise for this. This was a major It was a historical foreign policy success in the first place, but also extremely successful, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. An example, and well, let's go right to the headline. From Western Wall to Old City alleys, curious Israelis embrace Bahraini visitors. If you're wondering what the Old City is, that's the ancient part of Jerusalem. Obviously, a large part of Jerusalem is modern now, the 21st century. So the Old City is the old city that existed, or as it existed in biblical times. So, and it's very beautiful, by the way, very beautiful if you've never been there, these old buildings, especially if you're an American, because we don't have anything going back more than, say, 200 years, maybe a few things, but there you go back thousands of years, Crusader forts, and just, it's just amazing. It's just beautiful. Anyways, I digress. A man pulled up a plastic chair only feet away from the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City on Wednesday, and that would be October 6th, and sat himself down in the midday sun. Like the hundreds of Jews around him, he closed his eyes and began praying. But unlike the ultra-Orthodox Jewish men on either side of him, dressed in black suits and white shirts, this man was decked out in an immaculate white robe down to his sandals and a red and white keffiyeh around his head and shoulders. Keffiyeh, in case you don't know, that's in traditional Arab dress. That's that scarf that wraps around. There's usually a black band around the top, and then it just kind of flows down into the robes. Mohammed Saleh, an official with Bahrain's education ministry, stood, bowed, and sat again as he went through his Muslim liturgy. Saleh wasn't the only Bahraini Muslim at the Western Wall that day. 8 other Bahraini businessmen, activists, and officials posed for pictures and placed notes between the stones of the wall on both the women's and men's sides of the holy site plaza. I guess I'll have to jump in with another explanation here too. First of all, men and women, because the very religious Jews, they call them Haredis, Haredim, they are the very religious Jews. Well, you see the equivalent in the United States, it's the guys, the Jews with where the men have the black suits entirely in black and hats, and they have long beards and what they call pious, the long sideburns. But also the sticking the notes in the wall, if you're not familiar with that, the ancient stones are so old and weathered of the Western Wall that there are cracks, there are spaces in between the stones, and people can put prayers. You can write a prayer on a piece of paper and stick it in the spaces between the walls. That's something Jews have done for millennia. Well, I'm not going to say millennia. I don't know how long it's been, for a very long time though. And then, well, there was a time when they couldn't, when it was under Arab control between 1948 and 1967, before the Israelis liberated the cities. They were not allowed into that part of Jerusalem. So now that's changed. But anyways, we have a Muslim now sticking a prayer, and their Christians have done it. I think Donald Trump himself did it. And then, in case you want a little more trivia, every year, because you keep sticking those notes in there, and pretty soon there's no space for any more notes. So periodically, I think it's every year, but religious Jews will take all the notes out and give them a religious burial. They don't just burn or destroy the notes. They give them actually an official religious burial. So these notes are precious, and they're treated that way. So if you put something in that wall, if you want to put a prayer in there, it's there forever. It will be there forever, and hopefully your prayer will be answered, because that's the whole idea. Anyways, back to the article. These Bahrainis, they were part of the first Bahraini delegation to fly to Israel on the new direct Gulf Air route from Manama to Tel Aviv. Manama is the capital of Bahrain, and this is what's interesting. I mean, it's another success. There are now direct flights from Bahrain to Israel. So you can now fly directly. That's another Trump success. I guess I have to throw that in too. The visit was organized by Sharaka, or Sharaka, I'm not sure which is right, or quote, partnership, unquote, in Arabic, an NGO, non-governmental organization founded by Israeli, Bahraini, and Emirati social entrepreneurs in the wake of the 2020 Abraham Accords. The 12-day trip, which began on Sunday, included a tour of the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial. Yad Vashem, again, if you're wondering, that means hand of God, means hand of God. A Holocaust Memorial, meetings with Israeli entrepreneurs and students, discussions with government officials, and tours of Israel's religious and historical sites. As much as the Bahraini participants were learning about Judaism and Israel on their walk through Jerusalem's Old City, it seemed that the Israelis around them were going through their own profound experiences. Quote, can we take pictures, unquote? Jews, both young and old, asked tentatively. Israelis also tried welcoming the guests in Arabic with wildly varying levels of success. Wherever they walked in the Old City, the Bahrainis were the center of attention. They experienced the welcoming, inquisitive, and charmingly intrusive Israel that pleasantly surprises so many first-time visitors, and probably, if I can digress, would impress a lot of Jew-haters. A lot of these boycott, divestment, and sanctions, BDS, people who want to destroy Israel and accuse Israel of apartheid. So my invitation is come and look, as I did myself. Of course, me it was many years ago, eager to go back. But, and this is important, pay attention to this, important point, but not all Jerusalemites were happy to see cosmopolitan Gulf Arabs from Israel's newest regional partners taking in the city's sights alongside Jewish hosts. In many places the group visited, there were young Palestinian men who called them traitors, blasted nationalistic music, or even cursed their families. But the Bahrainis were unfazed by the epithets. They said the verbal attacks were entirely expected and rather tame compared to some of what they've experienced on social media and from Palestinians living in Bahrain. And that's the important point. It's the Palestinians that are so hostile, and these, as I said, Jew-haters. There's no other way to characterize them. Forgive me. Well, I don't care if you forgive me or not, for being frank, but these people who want to boycott Israel and want to destroy Israel and want to divide Jerusalem, they're losing. They're losing, as you can see from these Bahrainis. People, as more Arabs come to Israel and actually see the situation, and as more Israelis go to these Arab countries so they can meet Israelis, this animosity towards Israel just going to dissolve until the only ones left will be, well, the Palestinians and Iran and maybe a couple other countries, and that's really it. And that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. As always, I appreciate the time that you spend with me. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for future topics, you can put them in the comment section below the video. You could share this video with anybody you think would also like it. You could subscribe. I love getting new subscribers. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.